It's extremely common for games that remain in active development for years and years to change pretty dramatically as they continuously receive new updates. Minecraft is not unique in that regard, but how did we get here? This isn't the first time I've found myself asking this question, as Minecraft has progressed along its story from indie game to Microsoft-owned franchise, but it wasn't until I went back and played older Minecraft patches recently that it hit me just how much the game itself has changed. In many ways, the game has improved. Builders have access to far more blocks, and world generation has received some very meaningful updates, making parts of the world that were previously barren interesting and lively by comparison. There's much greater biome diversity and a massively increased pool of mobs. Each Minecraft world is full of things to discover around every corner, but as they add more and more, that's almost begun to feel like an issue. Not because these features themselves are somehow bad, but because they've started to crowd out the true source of Minecraft's greatness, which to me was always player-driven experiences. Part of the beauty of old Minecraft servers was how little there was to the actual game. Minecraft really was just a sandbox, with a relatively simple gameplay loop that left plenty of time for players to shape their world in ways that showcased their personality. Parts of the world inhabited by one group of players may feature a faithful recreation of a medieval town, each building carefully crafted to fit the set theme. Another part of that same world might be full of water slides, railways, and assorted pixel art of skulls and the builder's favorite Pokemon, while a third part of that very same world might just have a single, simple house, surrounded by nothing but several randomly spaced out one-by-one holes that go all the way down to the bedrock, leaving the rest of the server's population just a few short moments before they hit the bottom to wonder if they just stepped into an intentional booby trap or merely a physical manifestation of a player's idle curiosity about world depth. But again, the single constant throughout any Minecraft server was the game's ability to showcase each player's personality. That aspect of the game is still absolutely present to a degree, but Minecraft is at its core a survival sandbox game, and much like a child who has brought too many plastic toys to the literal sandbox, it can be a little difficult sometimes to find enough space to get to the sand. I can't count the number of times I've found a place to build, only to turn a corner and stumble upon an unfortunately placed village in the exact spot I had planned on settling. And it's not uncommon for there to be yet another village on the horizon as I cross that next hill. While individually many of these generated structures represent interesting additions to the gameplay loop, over time the amount of unique structures present in Minecraft has climbed from just a handful to about 25, leaving many worlds feeling downright cluttered. But surely more content can't be a bad thing, right? Well, no, these things aren't objectively bad, and honestly, when I think about each individual update, I can honestly say I liked most of them. I liked the Nether update, the Caves update, the Ocean update. I'm not saying the game isn't moving forward, it's just that it might be facing in the wrong direction. This clutter often serves not only to fill up the world in a literal sense, but also to fill up the player's time. There are materials to farm and levels to grind, bosses to beat, and structures to find. Minecraft has begun to feel more like an adventure game than a true sandbox, and the end result of all of this content is that there's an actual answer when people ask, what do you do in Minecraft anyways? And that was always my favorite thing about Minecraft. There never used to be an answer to that question other than you do whatever you want. The game provided you with no real goals, and it left the player with the sole responsibility of finding their own fun. The idea of Minecraft having bosses or credits or an end at all seemed entirely at odds with the premise of the game, and to me that hasn't changed. There is a fundamental difference when you play beta Minecraft and modern Minecraft. I rarely interact with many of the more adventure-themed features like potions, enchantments, or boss fights, but there are still constant reminders of just how much the game has diverged from its roots, in everything from the constant stream of junk items clogging up your inventory to the differences in world generation. Beta Minecraft was a masterclass in ambience, from the monstrous cliff faces and iconic floating islands to the much more pronounced color palette and thick fog that covers the entire landscape. But you don't actually have to do the Ender Dragon fight, or go to the revamped Nether, or ever enter a stronghold. So what's actually stopping me from just playing the game I always used to play it? I'll have a brief moment of self-awareness here and admit that for the most part, it's not actually a whole lot. Many of my complaints about the game are fueled by nostalgia, and in 10 years there will likely be a similar video by someone a decade younger than me, complaining about how much more fun the game was before they added the live-action Jack Black texture pack. Minecraft has changed, but how could it not? Nobody could have predicted back during the alpha and beta days that this retro-inspired survival crafting game, aimed mostly at people who played games like Dwarf Fortress, would one day end up as one of the most popular and casually accessible games of all time. And once Minecraft did blow up like it did, a shift in development priority to match the expanded demographic was only natural. Minecraft doesn't have the same weight and atmosphere it once had, and yeah, that could be because feature bloat has cut into both the landscape and the gameplay loop. It could be because they didn't get C418 for the new music, and it could be because the constant stream of spin-offs and adaptations make the world feel a lot more like a moneymaker than a passion project. But it could also just be that I've seen everything Minecraft has to offer. I've probably spent thousands of hours over the past dozen years playing Minecraft. I've seen it all more times than I can count. The novelty has worn off, but maybe that's okay. Nowadays, playing Minecraft feels like revisiting the neighborhood you grew up in. You can tell it's the same place, but your favorite store down the road went out of business years ago. The woods across the street have been replaced by a new housing development, and the people you see walking out of the house next door don't actually look very familiar. In fact, those kids probably weren't even born the last time you were here. It's a bittersweet feeling, but in the back of your head as you drive away, you know that one day those kids will probably feel the same exact sense of nostalgia for the way that things are right now.